Welcome to the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine weekly newscast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Dave Sadler from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine. Now, first up, I must apologise for the lack of newscast last week. That was down to me thinking Sunday was some other ridiculous day in the middle of Christmas and getting ready to do it on New Year's Day before realising that New Year's Day was Tuesday. So I decided to hop a week instead and come up today, add some extra stories, and add a nice segue in the end over to the All Metal Mode UK podcast this coming Thursday. So, first of all, without further ado, Happy New Year to every single one of you, and thank you all for your support over the past year. And please feel free to contact with us with any ideas or other things that you would like the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine to do this year. We do have, as we've said before, a number of things coming your way. So first off, the Metal Detectives Christmas Dig. Now this is a pretty massive story. The Metal Detectives are the organisation who run weekly digs, fantastic weekly digs throughout the country, and also organisers of the big Detectable event, which the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine last year attended, and hopefully will be again this year in some capacity. So this tale arose just before Christmas. I think it was on the 23rd. At Head Hoard, gold rings, gold hammered, and even more arose. So the Metal Detective Group hosted its annual Christmas dig on the 23rd of December in Oxfordshire. An incredible amount of amazing finds arose, including a block of axe heads that was excavated and will be taken to the British Museum for investigation. Other finds included gold-hammered coins, votive spearheads, and silver and bronze Roman coins, amongst other things. As I said, the Metal Detective Groups run regular group digs, and you can find more about them if you visit the Metal Detectives website, which obviously Google that, and that'll take you straight to their site. So, the opening image. Now, this is also this actual article is published on Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine. If you go to archmdmag.com/articles, it will appear as one of the articles, and you'll be able to read it firsthand and see all the fantastic images. So the first image shows an archaeologist, and we know it's an archaeologist because the group take along or call out an archaeologist in case of anything of consequence occurring, and obviously this is something of consequence. So the first image shows the excavation of the block of axe heads. Going down, we see a gold ring with what looks like "Love is Ale," and then I can't see anything else thereafter. Another gold ring, a bronze Roman coin, a gold hammered coin, the other side of said coin, some silver hammered coins, closer images of that, another coin or medallion or something, which I can't actually make out what it is, so you'd have to go along to that yourself. The aforementioned votive spearheads. Now this is in somebody's hand. The first spearhead is quite elongated, probably 6 inches or so, maybe a little bit more. The second one seems to only be about 2 fingers long. Beautiful little bronze spearheads. The next one is a close-up of that spearhead, a very, very dark patina within it. There's also another bronze ring, some form of perhaps Roman buckle, and then the whole excavated what looks like a potential urn, from what I can see, I might be wrong, with 2 of the bronze axe heads on top, and again an image with the people involved around the excavation. Some very close-up work, some more hammered coins, and again close-ups of the Bronze Age axes, and to finish, the hammered coin. So a massive congratulations to the Metal Detectives for their running that dig, and obviously the amazing finds that were found in this case. From the 2nd of January, so I'm more or less back up to date at the moment, ancient fishers' baskets found off the Monmouthshire coast. Monmouthshire, for those listening who don't know, is in South Wales and runs along the Severn Estuary. The Severn Estuary is the water source between South Wales and Bristol, basically. That's that area, Bristol and down to Ilfracombe and such like. Now, the two brothers were walking along, and they are part of a group of fishermen called the Black Rock Lave Net Fishermen, who they made the discovery at the estuary. And what they found are two medieval 14th century fishing baskets. Four fishing baskets. Very, very incredible detail. Now, the fishing baskets are like, I'd say, big pots. If you can think of the big ceramic burners that you get in the garden, ornate types, then they're sort of that shape, but obviously weaved wood. And how these have been able to survive so long in the silt and the clay is tremendous. The group of fishermen said they keep their eye on the riverbank out of season, have found prehistoric animal bones and wooden shipwrecks in the past. Now, these baskets would be recorded as they were too fragile to be moved and would fall apart. Cadw have recorded them and carbon dated by Reading University to being from the 12th to 14th century. So unfortunately, although a fantastic discovery, because of the preservation or an inability to preserve the fishing baskets, these have been left in situ. So hopefully, people may be able to see them again one day. But a fantastic find by the two brothers in Monmouthshire. I'm sure you'll agree. Gosh, I have to work quick on that little jingle there to get to the next article. Over in Mexico, a place that is proper in my bucket list to go. The amount of archaeology within Mexico. I've been to Egypt to see the pyramids there. I would so like to go to, China to see their pyramids, because obviously China have a higher concentration of pyramids, which is a little known fact that people don't know about. But Mexico would be my dream holiday to go around and visit them, and then off on a trip to Peru and fly over the Nazca lines. So if anybody ever wants to take me on holiday, there you go. So in Mexico, they found the first Flayed god temple. Priests wore dead people's skins, it says. The first photograph in this is taken by the National Institute of Anthropology and History. It's a skull-like stone carving and a stone trunk depicting the Flayed Lord, a pre-Hispanic fertility god depicted as a skinned human corpse. This was excavated from, bear with me, the Nadakjan Tehucan archaeological site in Tehucan in the state of Pueblo. There's been a lot going on, obviously, all the time, all these major archaeological sites throughout the world, and this is obviously a continuation. The temple, known as Nadakjan Tehucan, was built probably between AD 1000 and 1260, and were later conquered by the Aztecs. Now, the next image shows the bases, and they're painted with a yellowish type paint, obviously to point out where maybe even it's a new wall and stairs to show which is new and which is old. The work there at the archaeological site in Tehucan, it again looks one of these fantastic sites up in the hills surrounded by trees. The culture there must have been fantastic. Ancient accounts of the ritual suggest the victims were killed in a gladiator-style combat or by arrows on one platform, then skinned on another platform. The layout of the temple at Tehucan seems to match that description. Again, have a look on that on Google so you can see the images yourself for the Mexico finds first Flayed God temple, and that will definitely point you more. And that's when your finger slipped. Anyway, that will point you directly more or less to the images and the article. So back in the UK, now in Colchester. Now Colchester is a Roman city, and right next to the Mercury Theatre there's some archaeological excavation taking place. Basically, the Mercury Theatre is wanted to expand, so archaeologists have had to come along and do some excavations themselves to find what's going on in the area. So they've unearthed mosaic-like floors of a number of Roman homes next to the theatre complex. The finds were part of an excavation there in Essex, in Colchester. As well as the Roman floors and home foundations, archaeologists have found a number of items including a bone dice and a candle holder. Archaeologist Philip Crummy said to find anything well preserved in Colchester is very exciting. As I said, the dig is part of an £8.9 million extension and refurbishment of the Mercury Theatre. Now, to me, and I'm sure many people listening to this to me, I would like to see this Roman area looked after in the future. Unfortunately, life as it is, plans is to build over the Roman site. But maybe if they could incorporate that into their plans, cover it in some form of thick glass after it's been excavated and tidied and whatnot and recorded, that would be fantastic. But it looks like it's, what I can see, it's not going to be like that. The tessellated flooring found at the site suggests the occupants were very well off, said archaeologists. And the tessellated floors in this case, if you can imagine the small bits of mosaic material that you usually see in Roman floorings in mosaic, it's that, but it's more of a red colour as opposed to that being of an image of something. In Colchester in the 2nd century, the homes often had tessellated or mosaic floors, underfloor heating, piped water and painted walls, just like some of the houses that you find in the Mediterranean. What we see here ranks near the middle standard of home. We have seen some lovely fragments of painted plaster. It's been very interesting and rewarding to be given a chance to investigate this. Again, the next image is a beautiful image of archaeologists at work around the excavated site. You can see the tessellated imagery, and it does say that building work is expected to start at the site once the dig is completed. Archaeologists have mapped out all the finds and discoveries made at the site. They have some images stuck up to the fencing around. On one of it, it shows some kind of fitting. This will be sent off, an iron object. It will be sent off to be x-rayed, see if any form of internal mechanism. So kudos for that find in what is known as Britain's oldest town. That's what signs in Colchester proclaim to be Britain's oldest town. I think it was originally Camulodunum, which is a romanisation of its Iron Age name, the fortress Dunum of Camulus, god of war. Camulodunum was a huge important site in pre-Roman times. It most likely the royal stronghold of the Trinovantes, on which behalf of Julius Caesar invaded in 55 BC. Colchester became Britain's first ever city in 60 or 61 AD, while the Roman governor Gaius Suetonius Paulinus was leading a campaign in North Wales. Boudicca's Icena warriors rebelled, defeating the Roman 9th Legion and destroying the capital of Roman Britain, which was Colchester. So another great story this month from Colchester and Britain's history with the Romans. Now this next story, it's a good segue into the next guest on the All Metal Mode UK podcast, which the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine are co-hosts of on a Thursday night of Spreaker in the UK. This could also be found on YouTube, and if you look for the All Metal Mode UK Facebook group, it can be found on there with all the information and future guests, etc., on there. I myself am a co-host with Mike Hare from All Metal Mode, which is an American metal detecting historical podcast, and it's great fun, especially the Christmas episode where everybody were involved in the show. We had multiple guests. So this week we pay host to a gentleman called Chris Langston, who is the owner of Metal Detecting Holidays. Now, the article in the Daily Mail, which from looking at some of the comments on Facebook in the past week or so, some of the information on there is quite flawed, to say the least, and some of the comments that Chris has made to the media have been made a little different than they were actually intended to be for media purposes. Thankfully, ourselves try to give you the best and precisest of news that there is. So in this case, Britain's ancient gold rush, Instagram is fueling a flood of US tourists paying thousands to trudge UK fields in a bid to find Roman coins or lost artefacts. And then the under section says tourists from the US pay thousands of pounds to join treasure hunting tours. Hundreds flock to the UK every year in industry fueled by Instagram. Treasure hunters post finds on social media which receive thousands of likes. Metal Detecting Holidays, based in Shropshire, organises 8 tours a year. Now, I know definitely know the bit about Instagram is incorrect, and I don't think the prices that Chris charges are anything like what is suggested. So basically, this is the story. Chris Langston is the owner of Metal Detecting Tours, where people from around the world do come on holiday to take part in metal detecting events in the Shropshire area. Now again, I'm going to learn a lot more about this from Chris, but unfortunately in my eyes I'm not the biggest believer in rallies organised and profit being made. I'm obviously hoping to have my eyes changed a little bit this week. I have my own reasons for my beliefs, and they are my own. They're not the magazine's, they're just my own beliefs. And if people do wish to run a business, as long as the thing's done properly, then obviously I have no issue with that. It's just the manner in some cases, and I'm not saying in all cases, in some cases of which these events transpire. So UK metal detecting currently, there is a massive surge of interest, and I think each and every one of organisations, manufacturers, dealers, magazines like ourselves can all say that the BBC comedy Detectorists, starring Mackenzie Crook and Toby Jones, drive the popularity of metal detecting in the UK beyond belief. So Chris Langston, as I say, runs these events. Now, let's be fair, people in the US do want to come over to the UK and they do want to take part in events, but it's not that easy. They can't just do it out of nowhere. Obviously there are laws in the UK. In this case, they stay at a house in the village of Whittington near Shrewsbury, and they've got 500 acres of land with a 12th century castle and a Roman road on it, and they do everything for the people while they are here. The Americans, all they need to do is bring their equipment, bring their clothes, and everything else is looked after for them. So, brilliant. What else could you need? There is suggestion that some people are saying that the things that they're finding are being taken out of the UK and not being reported to the fines liaison officer of the Portable Antiquities Scheme. I know for a fact that is not the case. I know that Chris does tie up with them straight away. Everything gets reported, and anything that is taken out of the UK is done so with the proper licences involved to do that. So he's told the paper that 60% of metal detecting holiday clients are from the US. He also gets visitors from Australia and Canada. He does post all the finds that are made on the company's social media accounts. He leads around 8 tours a year from February to June and September to November. Because European settlement in America was so recent, it's very unusual to find artefacts such as coin from there before the 1700s. For Americans, even a coin from the 1800s is really old. They're most keen to find Roman, medieval and Bronze Age artefacts, especially hammered coins. One gentleman, Ken Cunliffe from New Jersey, said, "I've been detecting for a few years. I'm fascinated by England's long and rich history, which is why I was so excited for my trip." He told the Times that he discovered a hoard of King John hammered coins from 1199 to 1216 and a 1570s coin of Elizabeth I. The tours are potentially controversial, as some archaeologists consider private detectorists to be blunderers. And as I said, they do work side by side, metal detecting holidays with the Portable Antiquities scheme. The detectorists from overseas can take finds home provided they have to obtain the licences for items more than 50 years old. Again, Chris fully works alongside them in that respect. Again, if finds do qualify as treasure under the Treasure Act, it's compulsory purchase by the museum. Then there's both proceeds are split between the finder and the landowner. So this week on the All Metal Mode UK podcast, and that's Thursday the 10th at 8 PM in the UK, we have Chris Langston as a guest to discuss metal detecting holidays. And obviously we're going to learn a little bit more about himself, a little bit more about everything that transpires on these events. And yes, I'm looking forward to it greatly. So that's me for the week. 20 minutes long, it's 21 minutes long, it's a new record show. So again, apologies for last week. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Keep looking on our Facebook and Twitter accounts of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. We have changed the concept of that. You will see more, but you will see less coming from the website. Everything that's now coming through the website is directly made or written for us, from ourselves or from our readers or other friends, etc. So thank you all again, and I will speak to you next week. Have a good one.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at Archmdmag.com, that's Archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcast and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.